A powerful storm hit the holy city of Mecca on Saturday, caused chaos and destruction around the Kaaba, the sacred center, and the Mosque al-Haram Mosque. Torrential rain, strong winds, and lightning hit the area, leading to flash flooding and creating difficult conditions for pilgrims gathered on the hottest site in Islam. Videos circulated on social media show pilgrims struggle to stay in their feet. Water breaks through the open courtyard on the Grand Mosque. Despite the extreme weather conditions, many remained steadfast in their prayers, holding on to raging on seeking shelters under the mosque's arches. The storm took many by surprise as it moved quickly through the region, with the local authority issue warning of possible flooding. The Saudi Meteorological Service has previously forecast heavy rain in the western part of the country, but the intensity of the storm exceeded expansion. Winds reportedly reached speed of over 16 km/h, uprooted trees and caused minor damage in nearby buildings. Although the Grand Mosque remained structurally sound, some exterior area are temporarily flooded, with the water quickly accumulating in low-lying area. The Kaaba itself, which is a center of worships for millions of Muslims around the world, withstood the storm and creator working to ensure they protected from the elements. The Black Sea covering in kiswa, blazing strong winds, and the lightning hit up the sky above the mosque. Fortunately, there were no reports of serious injury or significant damage or scattered structure. Also, some pilgrims have been evacuated in their safe locations inside the mosque complex. Local emergency service responded quickly, deployed teams to pump water off the affected areas and ensure the safety of those inside of the mosque. The governor of Mecca praised the coordinated force and civil defense team who worked tirelessly to overcome the storm aftermath. Authority confirmed that despite temporary disruption, pilgrimage and prayer continued to usual after the storm passed. Such storm, while not frequent, is not uncommon in Mecca, especially during the summer months when the region can experience a sudden and intense weather change. However, there is silence on the city infrastructure, particularly the Grand Mosque ensures the spiritual head of Islam remains a place of safety and refuge for the pilgrims even in the face of natural disaster. The storm that hit Mecca, there was one of the worst recent memory attracting the attention of Muslims around the world as it fell during the period of intense pilgrimage. With the millions of pilgrims flocking the holy city throughout the year, especially during the Hajj and Umrah season, the sudden change in the weather posed serious challenges of them. Despite the extreme conditions, the devotion and resilience and faithful remained evident, and many continued to pray around the Kaaba even the rain pounded down the torrents and lightning lit up the sky. Saudi authority responded quickly to the storm. The general presently of the area, the two holy mosques, warning the civil defense team and mitigate the effects of the storm, ensuring that water did not accumulate in the key areas. Workers used special equipment in the pump water out in the flooded areas to allow access the central courtyard around the Kaaba. While some trenches at the mosque were temporarily closed due to flooding, the mosque continued to operate. The pilgrims were able to continue their ritual after the storm passed. The incident highlighted the difficulty and manage a large crowd in unpredictable weather conditions, especially an important site like the Grand Mosque, which received an almost continuous streams and pilgrims. The mosque, which can accommodate more than a million worshippers, has undergone significant upgrades in recent years and improved structure, including better drainage system and enhanced security measures. The improvements helped mitigate the worst effect of the storm, preventing more serious flooding and damage. However, the storm also highlighted the unpredictability of nature in the region. Mecca, located in desert climate, typically experienced high temperatures and arid conditions for the most of the year. However, when the storm do occur, they can be severe, and flash flooding poses significant risk due to limited ability and arid landscape to drop water quality. In the recent year, Saudi Arabia has invested heavily in the water monitoring and early warning system, helping authorities prepare to such events and minimize the risk to millions of people who visit the city. The Kaaba itself, the Kaaba structure of the heat and Islam worship, withstood the storm, and there are no reported damage. The Kaaba is draped with a kiswa, is rich embroidered black and blue, sharply in the wind during the storm. Throughout the Islamic history, the Kaaba withstood numerous natural disasters, from floods and fire, always remained a symbol of endurance of the fire. The recent storm was another test, but the structure remained intact, much of them to the Muslim community. After the storm, many pilgrims shared their impressions of social media, describing the surreal scene of believers performing the tayaf, the ritual of circumambulation around the Kaaba, the pouring rain. Some took off the event to powerful storm spiral, experienced a reminder of humility and devotion, remind the face of both natural aid and devotion. worldwide forces. Despite the difficult conditions, no one of the most injured enemy experienced gratitude for the safety measures taken by local authorities. The impact of the storm also extended beyond the immediate areas of the Grand Mosque. Roads leaving Mecca was heavily flooded, some vehicles were submerged, and traffic was temporarily interrupted. Local authorities working to clear the roads and ensure implemented entry and exit from the city, especially as many pilgrims relied the basis to care to reach holy site. The cleanup continued late in the night, with the emergency crew working to restore normal city operations. As Mecca continued to modernize and extend, with the development project amid the accommodating even more pilgrims, the storm severe reminded the importance of resilience infrastructure to ensure the safety and spiritual experience of those visiting the holy city. While storms in rare in Mecca, they presented and restored, both authority and pilgrims demonstrated unwavering committed to preventing insensitivity and safety one of the Islam holy sites. In the days following the storm, prayers and thanksgiving were offered the safety of those attending the event. And many resented the spiritual significance of enduring such of order, while the percentage of the Kaaba, it was humbling the reminder of even the face of the most powerful forces of nature. The devotional faith of millions of people remained unshaken and poured through the ages of testament the enduring power at Islam holy site. The city of Mecca revered the holiest site in Islam, experienced an unprecedented storm, leaving the residents and pilgrims in a state and awe and concern. The storm, characterized by heavy rain, strong winds, enveloped the city, including Grand Mosque, which houses the Kaaba, the most sacred structure in the Islamic world. The storm intensified the sky over the Mecca darkened, with lighting illuminating the iconic statue the Kaaba. The Grand Mosque, usually boosting the prayers and the chests of faithful, turned into a scene of hurried precautionary measures. Authorities acted promptly, implemented emergency protocols to ensure the safety of the thousands of warships to visitors present. The sudden weather change caught many by surprise. Pilgrims who had traveled from the visitor spot on the road of Umrah found themselves caught in the midst of rare meteorological event in the desert city. A witness reported the scene of rainwater cascading down, the marble floods in the Grand Mosque, and unusual signs in this region. Despite the challenges posed by the storm, there were no era of the spiritual resilience among the pilgrims. Many saw of rain and blazing continued the ritual and prayers, above the added cautions. The authority too resolved in the public, emphasizing all necessary steps in the band taken to manage the situation and minimize disruption the religion activities. The Saudi Arabia Meteorological Authority reported that the sudden storm was part of the wider climate pattern affecting the region. Experts pointed out that such weather events, though rare, are not entirely expected due to changing global weather pattern. The authority also issued advisories for other religions in the kingdom, using citizens and residents to take precautions. The aftermath of the storm was the testament the resilience and preparedness of the city infrastructure and the authorities. Cleanup operations commenced immediately the storm subsided, with the workers and volunteers joined hands to restore the Grand Mosque to unusual state, cleanliness ensured. This event serves as a reminder of the unpredictable of nature and the importance of preparedness and solidarity in facing such challenges. The storm in Mecca, while causing temporary disruption, also brought out the communal spirit and unwavering faith of the pilgrims and residents of this holy city.